And we are back on another thrilling edition of the Doing All Right podcast here at Crown Global Media. I'm on the Iron Throne. Brian's on his side of the mothership over there kicking it. The Cowboys, boy, they were in a thrilling football contest yesterday. Bryan Broaddus, 40-37. They defeat the New York Football Giants. Brian, you want to say some good things about the offense, or you want to say some bad things about the defense? What you want to do first?
Talk about your offense first.
Let's talk. Okay, we're gonna talk about our offense first, Bryan Broaddus. Let's just say big picture.
Yeah.
I would say we get another. I would say consistently cool day from your play caller, from your quarterback. Everything seems to be in sync there. CeeDee Lamb doing well. If we were to walk into this thing and say, hey, how many points you think the Cowboys are going to put on the Giants?
Yeah.
I said like 40. I mean, I'm a homer.
You were thinking
but I said like right around 40. I thought the Giants did a really good job of keeping the Cowboys offense off the field.
Yeah.
Early. Cowboys had a little nonsense with a fourth down attempt that could have went well. Delay a game. They got to clean stuff like that up, though, Bryan Broaddus. But
happened before half, too.
Right before half.
The game management stuff. Yeah.
Middle eight, you always.
Middle eight.
So right at the 4-minute mark going into the half, they score. Yeah. They could have scored again.
Right.
And they could have scored coming out the half. So the Cowboys do have to, clean that up.
Right.
But within 3 quarters, Bryan Broaddus, the Cowboys scored 37 points. And I thought that was impressive. And that's really, who we thought they are, Brian. What's your big picture thoughts about what the offense did yesterday?
You know what? I really felt like that the first part of that game that Brian Schottenheimer was just calling plays. I didn't feel like there was any kind of real rhythm. We were in the press box there talking about, oh, here's another boot, here's another waggle, here's another. It just seemed like to me he was trying to kind of search and find some things to do. And we had talked about going into this game. Hey, maybe attack this. Maybe think about that. Maybe take advantage of these linebackers. It just seemed like to me that he didn't start off with the same first 15 that he might have had in Philadelphia.
Sure.
And I'm not saying the same, but I'm talking about the same rhythm to how he called the game and the same rhythm to like, hey, let's marry the pass with the run here and kind of get the Giants off balance a little bit.
Do you think in general they had more enthusiasm for the Eagles than they did the Giants, Brian?
I think what happened in that football game was it was the first game of the year, and I don't know enthusiasm is the word.
Sure.
Maybe it's preparation. Maybe you've had the whole summer to get ready for the first game, and then all of a sudden you have to turn around and get ready for the Giants in 3 days. And not that they don't prep games a week or 2 weeks ahead, but it just seemed like to me that they had a clear plan of what they wanted to do against the Eagles. They're like, hey, we can attack the Eagles this way. Yeah. And where the Giants, it was a little bit more like they were kind of trying to feel some things out there.
Sure. Brian, me and you are 2 and 2 on this whiteboard, man, because everything that we kind of talked about came true, and I'll continue to give us credit throughout the show, Brian. But we felt like the Giants' defense was the power unit of the Giants team.
Right.
You got the front, and boy, the Cowboys' offensive line didn't do great. But I think this is even more of a tip of the cap to Dak Prescott, right? With the pass rushers doing their thing and Dexter Lawrence whooping up on the guys in the middle. Paulson Adebo covered pretty well. Andrew Phillips, the nickel guy, covered CeeDee Lamb here and there, when CeeDee wasn't going crazy, whatever. Like, they had spots where the Giants' defense was a little better than I expected, Bryan Broaddus.
Right.
Did you kind of see that a little bit?
Yeah, I felt like where this game kind of hinged for the Cowboys, and we're talking about offensive things, remember the pass that went across the field to Lamb? There was a deep shot that he started on the right side and went all the way to the left side of the field. And Dak was able to find it. They go max protection on the play, Voch. And then what happens is BB spins out. Like he goes down, like they kind of sell it like they're moving the pocket to the right. And then BB spins back to his left and is able to pick up. The Giants bring pressure off that side. He's able to pick that up. Now the ball goes down the field. Dak has completed a deep shot. From that point on, it kind of felt like that Schottenheimer's like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
We're throwing the ball now.
We're throwing the ball now. We're gonna throw the ball here. And then they were able to kind of put some things together. It was really that point. I felt like if you watch the big throws that Dak made in the second half of that game, when things were really the clutch throws, they did a pretty good job of holding up front. It's never going to be easy for Steele to deal with stuff. It was never going to. With Guyton, it's going to be kind of chaotic for him. when you got so much consistency, even Booker got swam a little bit, there's some twist stunt stuff, but for the most part, I felt like the offensive line, when they really had to have it. And one of the clutchest plays they made in that football game, and there was a lot of clutch plays, the Pickens slant, down there on third down. I mean, and you can even talk about the pass to Lamb with double coverage on him that he went up and made. There were so many big plays, but you had to have the protection, you had to have the routes. But I'm bringing up the Pickens one because you've got inside technique playing on him. It's a slant, and there's inside technique. If Dak's looking at that, he's thinking, man, they've got Adobo inside technique, and how is Pickens going to get inside? How Pickens did get inside is he was able just to fight his way. And Dak threw a perfect ball to him to make that reception. That's the kind of things, Voch, I think that the reason why you won this football game is you made a lot of clutch plays along the way that were able to have, because, like I say, Dak's got no business throwing that ball inside like that. He's got no business throwing the ball on the double team to Lamb, but that's the confidence that he has. That's the confidence he has in these receivers, and they were able to get, at the time, they were able to get enough protection to be able to pull these things off.
The Cowboys definitely settled down, Brian. To your point, I did notice Schotty kind of running some of the same plays, like a lot, like back-to-back a little bit.
Oh, he tried to, yeah.
The play-action boot, tight end to the flats. I hate it. I don't need to see it anymore. There was another play that I saw. It was they keep running different versions of counter. And Brian, one day, and Zach back there listening, what we're going to do is we're going to take that long cord and plug it up right here. And I'm going to show this stuff while we're talking about it on Monday after a game, maybe next Monday. But they keep messing around with how counter looks.
Right.
Last week I showed on the film here, it was Tyler Smith pulling as kick guy, and Lipke in motion pulling as wrap guy. We saw a lot of Jalen Tolbert as the wrap guy in motion, lead blocking a little bit, Bryan Broaddus. And I get sick of Jalen Tolbert doing anything, and he looked terrible at it when he first did it. Luckily, Javonte Williams is fantastic. But I saw Schotty run that like 3 or 4 more times there, Broaddus. So I just wonder if it just took Schotty a while to get in his groove. But once he got in his groove, you got 37 points in 3 quarters, Brian. You know what I'm saying?
He did. He kind of found himself a little bit, and if it's in a little bit of his DNA. If you go back to where the way his dad played with like guys like with Christian Okoye and in Kansas City, and you go back to where, with LaDainian Tomlinson, there was a lot of repeat play from various, formation groups, from different personnel groups. But it's the same idea. And so you're right about Williams. Be honest with you, Voch, I owe him a little bit of an apology.
Javonte's great.
He's good. There were some questions going into this about the Cowboys running game, and it wasn't great to start. But all of a sudden, they kept after it. And they finally were able to make it work. And then you've got guys, like you say, with Williams and his ability to make some people miss, the toughness that he ran with. So those were all positive things. It's all of a sudden the numbers initially looked really poor. But then by the end of that football game, there were some meaningful runs, there were some meaningful gains, and meaningful first downs. Dak throwing the football, the receivers making receptions, blocking improved, and the running game improved as he went along. And you're right. I think Schotty kind of found his groove with some of the similar plays, with some of the running styles that he was able to use in that game. But also, too, his quarterback, went to work on this giant secondary with his big-time receivers.
Javonte had 18 carries for 97 yards and a touchdown. Miles ended up with 5 carries and 15 yards for a touchdown. I don't need to see Miles. I think Javonte got it. If Javonte needs a break or something like that.
I think Williams had 6 catches, too, for like 30-something yards as well.
Yeah, pardon me. 6 for 33. Yes, sir.
There you go. So complete back stuff. Football,
back stuff. So, I mean, we can't be mad. And look, when I say we, I mean people online, not me and Brian necessarily, that Jadeveon Blue is not on the field. I know a lot of people thought Jadeveon was just going to come here and just start. But Javonte's kind of proven that, like, he's doing all the running back things, and he has the trust of the coaching staff. Brian, let me ask you this. We talked throughout the week about maybe wearing down some of those Giants pass rush. I think that happened towards the end of the game.
Right.
Because magically, all of a sudden, you can block dudes up front, and Dak was fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
like
you're absolutely
early, they was piss and vinegar.
Right.
Bryan Broaddus, and you just kept running the football. And you look, they got to you early. But in the second portion, you were just talking about clutch plays, right? Dak being able to hold the ball, to hit Lamb deep, or to even hit Pickens deep, because Pickens only ran a handful of routes.
Yeah.
He caught like 3 slants that was out on the touchdown there.
The touchdown.
But that last play getting Aubrey right up in field goal range there, it was a deep crosser.
Right.
And you needed time to do that.
Right.
So I think towards the end of the game, the Cowboys offensive line played better because they wore down the Giants pass rushers.
The Giants tried to rotate their guys. They really, really did. And and Dak did a really good job of at times playing with his snap count.
Yeah.
Getting them a little bit off balance there. And then, Schotty has this ability to kind of take the offense and go slow and then kind of pick things up. And you just don't know when it's going to happen at particular times in games. I thought he did a better job with those kinds of things, kind of keeping the Giants off balance. But I just keep going back to the clutch, the throws that Dak was able to make, and just how good Lamb and Pickens were. You saw that touchdown to Pickens. Yeah. It's like you mentioned he's working the slant, he's working the in-breaking routes. Yeah. And now he's going to take that thing, he's going to sell it in, he's going to sell it inside. He gets a little bit of separation, and then he takes that thing to the pylon. And Dak puts the ball right there on him. And then his ability to be strong enough not to get driven out of bounds at that point, but to catch the football and then make sure that it breaks the plane. That just tells you a lot about George Pickens, the hand strength, the body position, and the strength he has to be able to stay in that end zone.
I have a lot of theories about what's going to happen with this Cowboys defense. We could talk about that when we talk about the Cowboys defense. Yeah. I think if Dak is playing at this level, and some people could be like, well, Voch, it's the Giants. The Giants, they pose problems. Yeah.
Their pass rush can and then that defensive tackle can pose problems.
Dexter Lawrence, those edges, and they can kind of cover you up a little bit, but to see Dak kind of overcome that, right? I think if Dak keeps playing ball like this, pardon me, I think it's going to live and die by this offensive line, right?
Sure.
So when we go into,
but you thought that going into the season.
Sure.
I mean, you spend so much time and rightfully so working on this offensive line because you know damn good and well it's going to be the reason why they're going to have to score points, just like they did yesterday.
I think when we go into Chicago, right? I don't think they got the pass rushers that you've just dealt with.
Right.
I think that's going to mean something to Dallas. Green Bay might kick your ass, but after that, I think you've seen Guyton has seen what whooping is looking like. Terrence Steele, Elijah Garcia just came off the bench and just beat the hell out of Terrence Steele. But Dak was able to kind of, deal with those things, right? I think as long as they can run the football, Brian, as long as Dak is going to be as good as he's going to be, we're going to have a conversation about the defense. I think they'll be fine throughout the season, Brian. They got a lot to work on though. Yeah. But you got time to work on. How I look at it is it's an ugly win, but you're really supposed to just stack wins while you're fixing your team. Right. So you may not be great right now. Javonte Williams may not be 100-yard per game rushing back now. Right. But if he is by November, now we cooking with some grease or something. You know what I mean? If your defense is better by November, you've pocketed wins early in the season. It was ugly, but you're much better in November than you're always going to be in September.
I agree. Yep. See, this is why I picked this one second, because I knew I was going to get this type of reaction from you right off.
Brian, man, we're gonna talk about these people for a long time, man. We're gonna talk about this for a long time, Brian. Hey, man, you still got Flu's number?
Yeah, I texted him this morning because I had a question. I
got 5 questions.
I know. The question I had a question for him just because of watching the tape. This could sound terrible. I mean, I'm outing one of my sources here because it's Flu's. Just because I know him. Yeah, we know. But I asked him one of the questions I had about him. Bobby Belt and I from 105.3 The Fan and Dallas Cowboys Inside the Sean and RJ show in the morning. Bobby asked me, we had a question about there was a time where Diggs looked like he jumped a route and he came up and the ball went over the top. Not a touchdown, but it was a throw where he and Maris Leofau were kind of in the same, and it looked like that maybe Bobby thinks that maybe Maris should have been playing back, and then Diggs was playing like cloud coverage up, and that's why he drove on the ball, and then the ball went behind him, and it was a first down. Now
that's the neighbor's catch on the left side?
Yeah, it's just, cool. Yeah, it was like one of those things where it's like, well, whoa, what coverage were you in right there?
Yeah.
And so that's the one thing I asked Flus about, because I was just curious. I was like, was Maris wrong and was Diggs right, or was Diggs just – because there was a couple of times where Diggs jumped around. There was a time where you look Russell Wilson, he's going to throw the slant, and Diggs actually reads it and drives. And if Russ throws the ball on the slant, it's going to be an interception for Diggs. So sometimes Diggs will gamble on plays like that. So, yeah, that's the one time. But – yeah, I know you're going to get into some more Flus questions here for sure.
Man, I got so much I just want to ask Flus, man. This is what I would ask Flus. I'm like, man, Flus. I'll say it just like this. I'll be like, man, Flus. Whenever you manufacture some more pressure via blitzes or something like that, boy, man, your defense sure know how to get a stop, boy. But man, Flus, when you rush 4, we don't get pressure on the quarterback, Flus.
Pressure, we don't.
Well, what's that about? That's what I would ask. What's that about, Flus? Yeah. Brian, this is what I think it comes down to. I don't think the Cowboys are a horrific defense talent-wise.
Sure.
But this is what I think happens. I think in these zone looks, I think you can mess with a character like Jalen Hurts because he ain't all that good processing.
Sure.
And Jalen Hurts, by the ranks and numbers, may be a better quarterback than Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson done seen that same zone coverage thousands of times.
Yeah.
Thousands of times. He knows like the back of his hand. Russ may be washed. Because this next game that Russ going to play, whoever he going to play against.
Kansas City?
I just know how this works. Russ he going to throw for 6 to 8 yards. We're going to be talking about Jackson Dart again after this 400-yard day that he just had.
Yeah.
Russ has seen this coverage like the back of his hand, Brian.
Sure.
There's no confusing looks that you can throw at him.
Really
it might work. It might work against Caleb next week.
Sure.
It could possibly work against Jordan Love the week after that.
Yeah.
It ain't going to work against an old man like Russell Wilson. So what happens is if you're in a look and you don't get pressure on those looks,
right,
Russ gets to just sit back and throw all day.
Right.
Russ is going to throw for 400 yards on those same looks.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Sanborn because when I watch, I'm like, man, why is Sanborn turning his back to the quarterback and running 30 yards downfield with Wan'Dale Robinson?
Yeah.
He's asked to do that.
Tampa too.
He's asked to do that.
That linebacker covered the middle. Yeah.
When I was at offensive coaching class, right, and they would teach me, well, Voch, cover 3 and cover 1, basically the same thing.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Just depend on the leverage of the middle safety. You just whatever. Donovan Wilson shouldn't be in that situation, bro.
Ooh.
Donovan shouldn't be one high with nobody.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Donovan shouldn't be too high with anybody.
Never, Bryan Broaddus. So it's all about what Flus is asking these guys to do.
I agree with you on this. I agree. There's a lot of talk about guys running past Elam, running past Diggs. Man, they sat in a cover 2 look the majority of that football game, and then when they played single high, they had Donovan Wilson playing as the single high safety.
Yeah, man,
that is, as you all saw, that's a recipe for disaster right there. I mean, and because what happens, in my opinion, this is just watching the tape, and a lot of folks will wake up this morning, they'll get on their NFL.com, and they'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. That ball, he just does not have the awareness when it comes to, or the ability to read. He just does not have the feel for when the routes are coming at him and where he needs to react. It's almost like he's paralyzed waiting, and then he reacts. The touchdown that Neighbors had towards the end of the game, I mean, it is clear as day that the Elam, they struggle. I mean, Neighbors, they don't get really a jam. And that was a little bit of a problem with this cover 2 stuff that they were playing, is there was so much inside free release. There was no collisions, no anything. And I kind of feel like this is where Diggs is really kind of at his best. I don't think Diggs runs great. I just don't. I think where Diggs is good is he can collide, give collisions, and then kind of put himself in position to run and carry a guy. Yeah. When guys run at Diggs, when guys run at Elam, when guys run at Wilson, they just do not have the twitch or the ability, the quickness to turn and go with these guys. They're not reading it quick enough. And now all of a sudden, you're getting guys, and when Neighbors, and you could watch it, when Neighbors is even with when he's even with Wilson and he's even with Elam, he is running past them. You could stop the film and see just the poor angle that Wilson. But to your point, Voch, Flus is asking these guys to do things that they just aren't very good at doing. Yeah. And you have to be able to adjust to that. But they cannot continue to play Donovan Wilson in a way where he's the single high safety or he's the safety on the other hash, because teams are taking advantage. They're going to get that film and they're like, hey, if you see 6 back there playing. Now you say, well, Broaddus, what about the interception? What about some just really good pressure by Sam Williams on the play? Sam Williams on that interception. Sam Williams wins, and he's inside, and Russell Wilson is throwing the ball over the top. Russell's making a desperation throw to Neighbors, who is somewhat open on the right side, on the left sideline, the right defensive side of the Cowboys defense. But then you've got Wilson sitting right there, waiting. The ball comes right to him. If that ball is, if Russ has time to throw the ball a little bit wider, that might be a big play for the Giants right there. It just so happened that Sam Williams got enough pressure and made him throw the ball over the top right there. So, but it is on Matt Eberflus to find a way not to put his guys in such poor positions that they're not capable of doing.
That's about all the damn pressure you got that day, Bryan Broaddus. I don't think the pass rush unit helped very much. And This is where they both have to help each other.
Right.
These pass rushers, they're not good enough.
Right.
They're not good enough. And I have to take some responsibility in this too, Bryan Broaddus, because when we're watching the film and we're saying, oh, Ella Minor, Hudson, Michael Smith, go
Hudson
get him.
looked bad. Hudson looked bad for like Hudson, he got put Imbao got put in. Our guy from Purdue got thrown.
Draft guy. Hey, look, I don't want to keep vouching for draft Voch, okay? But Marcus Imbao looked pretty nice.
He played well. He actually did. He gave him some stability.
But you don't have 11 anymore, and I know there are some people in the chat that's gonna get mad at the slightest mention of Pika Marsons. They're gonna be upset at the slightest mention, but we're tied to his name at least for 6 more games just to be like, hey man, this is what you're missing. My overall point in this thing is like he's not here anymore.
Right.
So Flus would benefit from him being here if you're only going to rush 4.
Yeah.
And Pika Marsons is one of those guys.
Sure.
And he's paired with some of these other dudes, then fine.
Yeah.
But if Dante Fowler is your primary pass rusher, you're in some deep doo-doo, Bryan Broaddus, because he's not going to get pressure by himself. Donovan Ezeraku, young man, when he was your 3rd option. Mm-hmm. That's something to rub your hands together about. If Donovan Ezeraku is your 3rd option, but he's your 2nd guy now.
Yeah.
Sam Williams played the most reps out of all of them. He's still running down the middle of people, Brian.
Right.
James Houston, who I like a bunch.
I don't understand why James Houston can't get on the field more.
14 snaps, Bryan Broaddus, but in those 14 snaps, got a sack, 2 pressures, and a couple of run stops.
Yeah.
In 14 plays.
Yeah.
Text Flus and ask his ass what the hell going, or White Cotton or somebody.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out how this Clowney thing is going to work and whose reps are they going to take from. But I'm hoping that they don't take reps from Houston.
Right.
Or something bad happens to Houston. I hope Houston gets a little more rest because it seemed like he's making impact plays when he's in the game, Brian.
Yeah, he is. And kind of felt like that maybe this would be a great game for Marshawn Nealon. Sure. With how soft that Ella Minor and these tackles and Hudson, how they set. But he didn't have the type of game that I thought he was. It's going to be Houston seems like the one guy, Voch, that you mentioned that has had the most consistency when it comes to playing the run and also defending the pass as far as the pass rusher. But there were a couple of different times where Flus tried to bring pressure, and it just did not work out. He brought Stewart on 2 different slot blitzes, and it just could not get him home. Russ got the ball out quick. Fortunately for the Cowboys, they got a little bit more pressure towards the end of the game when they got into the overtime period where their pass rush got home a little bit. Maybe the players were feeling the crowd. Maybe there was a little. Maybe your guys got wore down a little bit on the Giants' offensive line. But for the most part, man, rushing 4 like you're talking about, they just cannot get a guy home. And you want to talk about admitting more things. Donovan Ezeraku, there's problems with Donovan Ezeraku as far as his pass rush how he plays. He's been playing really, really tall. And, and when you give guys your chest and you don't able to win the corner, then that's a problem. He's got to figure out ways to break guys down, dip underneath, and then make some plays that way. But right now, there was a couple of different times in watching the tape this morning where his balance was not as where it needed to be. They're just not winning the edges like we've seen with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons' ability to win the edge, attack with power and all that. It's just too much rushing down the middle. It's too much not getting the edge. It's too much of, hey, when you do bring a blitz, the blitz not getting home.
Man, Brian, you remember in training camp a couple years ago when Jerry Jones tried to get real difficult with Zach Martin and his money?
Yeah, he sure did.
And Jerry say, hey, man, we got a deal.
Yeah.
You ain't getting no more money. Zach's under contract.
Right.
And Zach was holding out. And, boy, the next preseason game, Josh Ball went out there and stuck it up real bad.
Yeah.
And within, 24 hours, Zach Martin got his money.
Uh-huh.
Now, that might be a coincidence, Bryan Broaddus. I don't know the behind-the-scenes stuff. Maybe you could text Jerry Jr. and ask him. But something I've never seen before, Brian.
Yeah.
Is in real time as your pass rush is struggling.
Yeah.
And Fox paying that damn camera up to Jerry Jones and he on the phone and he's signing stuff.
Yeah.
And after the game, we say, oh, Jadeveon Clowney, not only is he signed, but he signed for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I signed him in the middle of Sam Williams running down the middle of Elliman York.
Yeah.
Bryan Broaddus. First of all, before we move on to Clowney and what he means to this room, have you ever seen somebody get signed in the middle of a game? And I know Jerry Jones' suite is comfortable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tables and pens up there.
Sure.
There's a phone line and there's Wi-Fi and all that, Bryan Broaddus.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen somebody get signed in the middle of a game?
No, I haven't. I know. Now, the funniest one that I remember that didn't happen, and it wasn't in the middle of the game, if you remember that Nnamdi Asomugha.
Yeah.
Remember that whole thing at training camp the one year where literally we're in the press box watching practice, and Jerry and Rob Ryan and those guys are on the phone while practice is going on, and we're trying to determine, and I've got a guy that's in Oakland. Mike Lombardi is telling me what's going on. He's like, well, listen, it sounds like it's you and Philly. We're trying to kind of work some things out, going back and forth. That's the only time I ever remember something going on and in the middle of the game. Yeah. I'm sure in Cowboys history there was somebody that got signed and it was kind of after the Emmitt Smith when they went 0-2 and Charles Haley threw his helmet through the locker wall and that's when all of a sudden Jerry said, okay, maybe we need to get this done. But yeah, I felt like that it was the Cowboys were really on this trying to get it done. It was more from what I was hearing. It was more about him not wanting to be here. Yeah. And so maybe he made the determination. Maybe he saw Brandon Aubrey knock those field goals home. Yeah. And kind of see like, oh, well, this team really doesn't have a pass rush, so maybe I can come save the day.
I think Jerry Jones reached in his pocket and grabbed that billfold, called back and said, please. That damn dollar amount you want.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
talking that veteran minimum, but now we're talking a little bit more than the veteran minimum.
Talking a little bit more.
Yeah,
talking a little bit more. Yeah. What does he mean for this pass rush unit? He's not first overall pick, Clowney.
Yeah.
But he might be a little better than what you have right now. What does that mean, Bryan Broaddus?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? When the Cowboys did cut days, they kept 6 edges, right? And Micah happened, Pike or Marsons happened to be one of them. But now the Cowboys are down to 5 edges. So now I wonder, are they going to add Clowney? He's going to be the 6th edge, or are they going to make a move and move like another edge around, or is BB going to be an IR type guy?
Yeah, it sounds like it's a lateral sprain, and I'm trying to get. I know the MRI is going to be on this morning on Turpin's neck. They think it's a strain. And then but the lateral sprain is kind of the most common on the outside of the ankle. So hopefully BB can.
Is lateral worse than high or low?
I think lateral is common. High is bad.
So lateral is the best of them.
Yeah, it's the best of them. If you can have, it's the most common. They tell me. So it's on the outside of the ankle. An offensive lineman is a former offensive lineman. Pain tolerance is always different from offensive linemen than it is everybody else.
Yeah, they're gonna put some ice on it and make the
wrap it
go
real
down
tight.
And wrap that mug up. He gonna have a boot on the outside of his cleat. And he gonna go out there and play. Hey, Bryan Broaddus, man, good game. A W is a W. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you real quick though about the kicking situation.
Oh, perfect.
Did you feel like as that game progressed, how about them running the ball just to get him into 64-yard range? I mean, that to me, that is showing the utmost confidence. Instead of throwing and trying to maybe get 8, 10 more yards, they said, no, we're going to run this draw. And we're going to try, and we're going to get like 3-4 yards out of it, and then we're going to make this a 64-yard field goal.
I made an analogy on my show yesterday, but I won't make it here. But what I will say, Brian, what's the point of having a kicker that can make a 70?
Yeah.
If you don't just roll them out there to show off a little bit.
Just to show off a little bit?
Like, and to be fair, I know Cowboy PTSD will lead you to believe, man, if we throw the football, man, something bad will happen right here.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could Javonte fumble
He'll get tip in the air.
Something goofy going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So I always make this joke in the offseason, Brian, that if you catch a touchback, there's a lot of penalties on this drive, which made me sick. If you catch a touchback, all you need is 25 offensive yards. You're technically in field goal range for Brandon Aubrey. So at the 4-yard field goal, he had another 7 or so in him. He could have hit a 70.
Yeah.
So Schottenheimer could have worked hard to make it a 58-yard field goal.
But it didn't. It was more important just to get him inside 65 probably, right?
65 being comfortable for a kicker is crazy, bro. We're at 65? All right, cool, bet.
Yeah.
I remember when we would gather around the TV when Adam Vinatieri, Mike Vanderjagt and David Akers, when they was hitting 49-yarders and we was, 49 yards. Kicking the ball 49 yards is ridiculous. Brian, look at where we are now. And Brandon Aubrey not only is hitting 65s, but he's smoking them joints down the middle, Brian.
Right.
So in my mind, I think he's one of your best players. He was responsible for 16 points yesterday.
Yeah.
He was responsible for 16 points. Some teams can't put up 16 points on a whole day at all. You know what I mean? So I just think that's just an extra weapon for you. And if you're going to be in shootouts like this, you need him and Dak to be locked up.
Yeah, I felt like, to me, that it's so funny to just try and get a guy within 64. But you feel like, it was funny. It was CeeDee was talking about, hey, get that thing to the star. Get that thing, logo. Get to the logo. Get that thing to the star, and you're going to get 3 points. I mean, that has to be such a comfortable feeling for this team to be able to deal with a guy like that, you know. And I'll tell you what, though, on special teams, I started worrying a little bit because Turpin injury, because you maybe needed a couple of punt return, you needed a kick return, you needed to try and get to some field position.
And Turpin's big runs pair really well with a long Aubrey field goal.
That's what I'm saying. They usually are hand in hand. You get a return to the 38, the 40-yard line, and next thing you know, it's a first down, and now we're kicking field goals.
Can I hate on somebody real fast?
Sure.
I know we running into this. Don't even worry about it. Can I hate on somebody real fast?
Sure.
I don't want to see nothing else from Jalen Tolbert. I don't want to.
That catch was pretty big, though. It was a clutch catch.
Brian, he had to do something because Dak kept looking at him. We had this joke yesterday on the postgame show.
Yeah.
I know Dak throwing the CeeDee Lamb while he's triple covered.
Yeah. That means Tolbert was probably open.
But Jalen Tolbert is just as locked up in single coverage. He's just as defended and covered in single coverage. You might as well try CeeDee Lamb.
He ran through Phillips to get that 11-yard catch.
Right. Jalen Tolbert made me
Pass
so
interference.
sick. Jalen Tolbert runs like he's 6'11".
It's got a little NBA game to him.
He run like he got long legs. And he run and no grass is dying under his feet. That's your term,
That's
Brian?
my term, yeah.
He runs so light, and I'm like, dog. And this made me say this, Brian. How bad is Blue effing up?
Yeah.
That he can't even be in the game as a return guy.
Yeah.
I understand if Blue can't line up correct and do the shifts and motions. All right, cool. You just get no carries for the day. Blue doing so bad.
Yeah.
Tolbert got to be your return guy.
Yeah.
I'm sick of Tober. Jonathan Mingo rubbed his hands. He can't wait to come back. I can't wait to see Mingo come back. Yeah. Text one of your sources so we can see when the hell he's back on the field. Because I'm sick of Jalen Tober.
I got you covered, man. I got you covered.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all being here on this lovely edition of the Doing All Right. We're going to be
Victory
doing this
Monday.
all week. Victory Monday.
Yeah.
We got some film tomorrow. We're going to be breaking that down. Appreciate y'all. And, hey, we're going to come back Wednesday and Thursday and Friday again. And we're going to break down the Bears and what they got for us.
Bear down Bears.
But we love y'all to peace. Thank y'all so much for the positive responses and watching all the film and watching the podcast and commenting all this kind of stuff. And if you're on podcast platforms, if you would rather listen to us, we on all your podcast platforms and soon to be all of them. So just look out for them. Look out for the podcast platform. It's on the way. Y'all be sure to hit the sub, hit the like. Y'all follow Bryan Broaddus on VOCHLONBARDI. And we'll catch y'all tomorrow for some film of what happened yesterday. All right, y'all hold it down. Crown.